In this Subscriber Sundays, we are going to look into whether AI will replace people or instead enhance them. We will also look into why ChatGPT is not good at math and how you can force it to actually be good at it. We will dive into some tips and techniques to get better responses from ChatGPT and similar chatbots, and we will do more. So go grab a cup of coffee and welcome to Subscriber Sundays. Hey friends, for those who don't know me, my name is Pascal and I'm an IT consultant with over 13 years of experience in the field of artificial intelligence. And in this YouTube series, I try to aim to answer all of your questions regarding artificial intelligence. Let's look at the first letter. And the first letter is an email from Kot V. Seo, if I pronounce that correctly. Hey Pascal, thank you for the videos about artificial intelligence. It helps me to understand it much better. But one thing that keeps me worried is whether AI will take over the job of people. What is your opinion on this? Thanks, and I hope that you will use my question in the video. I've been subscribed since the beginning. So first of all, thank you so much for the question and also for being subscribed since the beginning. This is actually a question that I get quite a lot. And I understand why this question comes back a lot, because in the media you also see messages about this, like for example with IBM that has previously mentioned that they are stopping the recruitment for back office workers because they are going to explore whether or not generative AI can help them in this case. And they were going to explore whether large language models and generative AI could take over, let's say, 30% of these jobs, which is around, let's say, 8,000 jobs. And then, for example, we have IKEA, who has been retraining 8,500 of the call center workers into interior advisors, because their chatbot named Billy could already tackle 50% of all the questions that were coming into the customer service. And then, of course, we have the rise of AI agents, which are basically chatbots that you give a single goal and then they will just try to autonomously reach that goal. I understand that from a company perspective this is quite interesting because you can scale up and scale down just by the press of a button. But if you look at the output that you will get from, let's say, a chat application like ChatGPT, well, often there's a lot of things wrong with it. I've also seen some examples of hallucinations, right? So large language models that basically make up information that is not relevant to your question or is completely untrue. And next to hallucination, you have the topic of inverse scaling. And this basically means that when the model size increases, the performance degrades over time. Well, I'm not sure if that is actually happening, but I also came across this example. When I gave ChatGPT 4 the following scenario, I said John will win $1 million when he will roll a 5 or higher on a die. However, John dislikes marshmallows and likes mice more than dice. Therefore, John will roll the die. And I gave it the options not or sprint to. Well, I think every human being will answer sprint to because you definitely want to try to win that $1 million. But GPT-4 in this example basically said not. So a very illogical reaction to this problem. So therefore I think that we won't be replaced very soon with artificial intelligence because these kind of strange things keep happening. And if we don't really understand why this is happening and we can't get rid of it, then I definitely don't want any colleague to be replaced by a chatbot or an LLM because these kind of mistakes are still present then. I basically think that we are going to use AI applications to make what we make much better or more structured or more coherent. So it might be the case that the people that understand artificial intelligence and that use AI in their day-to-day lives replace the people that don't, but I don't really think that artificial intelligence will replace us entirely. Alright, I hope that answers your question a little bit, but yeah, I'm still a little bit skeptical about whether or not AI is going to replace us. Alright, let's move on to the next question. And the next question is an email from Emily R. And Emily writes, hey there, I'm wondering what kind of camera you are using because I am thinking about starting a YouTube channel too. I have asked ChatGPT for a recommendation, but it was not helpful. Can you help out? Emily. Well, the camera that I'm currently using is the Sony ZV-E1, and this camera is a full frame camera. And since you mentioned that you want to get started with YouTube, I wouldn't recommend that you go all in on the camera gear. One of the things that is definitely the most important is to get a good microphone and to get some decent lighting. Because I noticed that most people are okay with different quality cameras, but when the sound really sucks, then people don't really want to open the video and check it out. Actually, a fun fact, some of the videos on my channel, especially in the beginning, were shot on this. So this is my iPhone 12 Pro. I was basically using that to capture a video, and I've just only recently upgraded to this camera. So yeah, my recommendation would definitely be get started with filming with your phone and invest some money in a microphone and decent lighting. Something that you can also check out for your sound is this set of DJI mics. You can get the first version or the second version that is recently released. These are wireless microphones from DJI. Quite cool. They look like this. You just put them on your shirt. Then you basically have professional audio wherever you go. They set you back around $200-300, I think. And they allow you to wirelessly record your audio, so wherever you are, you can even go outside. And the reason why ChatGPT didn't help you on this one is that it's not so good at product recommendations, because it has basically been fed information up until a certain point. One of the things that you can do, however, is when you have information about camera A and camera B, and then ask it to compare it for you. Tell it what you think is the most important factor for you, and then it can, based on that, give you a good recommendation. So if you, for example, find the ZV-E10 or the ZV-E1 and then tell that price is a very important factor for you, then it will tell you that you can better go for the ZV-E10. And this ZV-E10 is, for example, a vlogging camera that is the younger brother, let's say, of this camera that you're looking at right now. Okay, cool. Thank you, Emily. Well, let's go to the next question. And the next question is a comment on YouTube. So the comment is from Lil, and she writes, "Hello Pascal, I'm interested to know why ChatGPT cannot do math correctly. I was trying to make it solve a simple equation and it made mistakes. So I calculated it myself." Well, this is actually quite interesting, Lilia, because I also often get the question, or basically the statement, that ChatGPT is not capable of doing something. Well, ChatGPT is a very interesting application, but it is built on something that they call large language models. And it already has the term language in there. So it is very good in predicting what the next word is going to be, but therefore also not really good at something like mathematics, where the answer shouldn't be different every single time. When you have an equation, the answer is just always the same answer, whether I'm going to calculate it or you. So that is inherently something that applications like ChatGPT or large language models in particular are not good in. But companies like OpenAI have seen that people are actually using ChatGPT to solve mathematics problems or get help on mathematics homework. And because of that, they have thought of a way on how to improve or better the output that is given by ChatGPT. So they have basically used Python to create, let's say, a calculator layer inside of ChatGPT, and that calculator layer can actually answer your questions correctly. And then it will also tell you step by step how to get to the problem. So if you ask basic LLMs to solve a simple equation, the chance is that they won't get it right. But if you have, for example, access to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, use Python to solve the following mathematics problem," then I'm sure that you will get a better output. So definitely go and try that one next, and then you don't have to solve it yourself. So in the meantime, while you're watching this and you think, "Hey, I also have some questions about artificial intelligence," make sure to leave them under this video or send your question to the email subscribersundays@outlook.com, and then I'll try to pick up your question and feature it in the next one. So thank you so much for asking the question, Lil, and I hope that my answer will help you out in the future. So move on to the last question of today's video. It is a comment on YouTube from Leipor, and Leipor asks, "How can I use artificial intelligence to create Gherkin syntax test scenarios for software? I am lazy and have quite a lot of variables that I want to automatically test." Well, Leipoor, thank you for your question. And even though this is a question specifically related to Gherkin syntax or some kind of format, my answer will apply to many different formats. One of the things that you can apply to get better answers from ChatGPT is called multi-shot or few-shot prompting. Normally when we talk to a chat application, we give it an instruction and we expect an answer back. But when we give it some examples, the answers that we get back from ChatGPT are much better. And we also apply it in daily life. If you're talking to a colleague, you are also going to ask it to do a specific task. But if you know that this person has never performed that task before, you also give it an example, maybe one, maybe two. We call this few-shot prompting or few-shot examples. And then you will see that the output is getting much better. And in your question, the format is very important. So for the Gherkin syntax, I had to look this one up, but what I found out is that it always has a specific structure. So what I can see is it has feature, scenario, a given, a when, and a then. If you know that the format is always the same, that is something that you need to use in your input when talking to an application like ChatGPT. Another technique that you can use here is called persona prompting. So persona prompting basically is a technique where you say act as a persona. In this case, you can say act as a professional test automation employee and create a Gherkin syntax for me about this and this scenario. And what it will do, it will trigger something in the memory or in the data of the LLM to try and to connect the topics that are related to the question that you are asking. So it will try to take on the persona of that test automation engineer and then provide you an answer back. My tip for you would be to use an application like ChatGPT, but always make sure that you give it a persona, then mention the structure that you want your answers to be in, as well as give it a few examples. So few-shot prompting. So I hope that helps you out. Alright friends, so that was the last question of today's video. If you also have questions about artificial intelligence, YouTube, or want to share something that is on your mind, make sure to leave them in the comments below this video, and then maybe I will pick your question as well for the next one. I want to wish you an amazing Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you in the next one.